Hi everybody, this is Boog S Reviews, and today I'm going to be doing a review on the NECA Ultimate Gargoyles Brooklyn figure. So before we take a look at Brooklyn, let's take a look at the accessories that he comes with. So first up, he comes with a set of open hands. Up next, he comes with a set of fisted hands. Up next, he comes with his accessory holding hands. Up next, he comes with torn pieces of paper, and this looks really good. The sculpt detail to these pages looks really good. I like how the edges are really torn and rolled up, and the paint on it, making it look very dirty and aged, looks really good. The paint and sculpt detail to this is top notch. Up next, he comes with his lance, and this looks really cool, but I have two complaints with it. The first is that the handle is very thin, and the grip on his accessory holding hand is a little bit wider than this, so he can't hold it very tight. It does stay in his hand because of the bigger part down here, but as you can see, he doesn't hold it the greatest. It just shifts up and down and moves. And another thing is it's very top heavy, so it's made this accessory holding hand very loose. It wants to topple over. So if you have it like that, it'll eventually just droop. So this is a very cool accessory, but he really can't hold it for his hand being so loose now. So that does suck. Up next, he comes with some really cool stylish sunglasses. And finally, he comes with his alternate angry head sculpt. And this looks very nice, but it's very tough to get on. One of the points I was actually going to mention is that getting this alternate head sculpt on with these wings on is very difficult. And as you can see, the left wing on mine snapped right off. That's what I've been afraid of on these gargoyles figures. You can see that it snapped off right there. So yes, I am going to have an awful time trying to fix this because this is a very tough joint. So if you get this, definitely be careful. My best advice is just to leave the standard head sculpt on it. I was actually tempted not to switch the heads out for this video. I should have listened to my gut because now the wing is completely snapped off. So that is nice. So now let's go ahead and take a look at the standard head sculpt. So taking a look at this main head sculpt, NECA did a really awesome job on it. I love the shading around the eyes, on the forehead, and even there in the ear. That looks really nice. NECA did a really awesome job on this standard head sculpt, and he actually has a jaw that can open up all the way, and that looks really good. The inside of his mouth is actually painted and sculpted very nicely, and I feel like you can get a range of emotion from having that articulated mouth. That looks very awesome. The hair is also sculpted very, very well. The sculpt of this hair looks amazing, and it has some really, really cool blue shading over top of it. I love that blue shading. It looks amazing. Since one of the wings broke and I took this wing off, we'll look at this separately. The wings are sculpted very nicely. It has that really cool texturing like all the gargoyles wings have. And I didn't notice it till I had the lights on my review station on it, but it actually has some subtle tones of brown painted over top of it, and that looks very nice. And on the back you get this navy color with some metallic purple painted over top of it. So these wings are painted very, very nicely. As I said in my previous Gargoyles review, the joint felt very stiff and like it was going to break. So my worst fear with these figures finally happened. I'm honestly surprised it took this long for that to happen. The body is sculpted very nicely. The muscles look really good, and surprisingly, this figure is actually cast in that brownish color. I actually thought that the brownish color was painted over top of it, but no, the red skin tone is actually what's painted over top of it. But NECA did a really good job on that. I really thought that was a wash. But no, that's actually the base color showing through, and the red is painted over top of it. He has veins sculpted on from his shoulder, and it goes all the way down to his bicep, there on his forearm, and then on the top of his hand. It has some really cool texturing to it. The top of his hand has some cool texturing. I kind of wish the rest of the figure was textured like that because that looks really cool. But yeah, for the most part, the sculpt on this one is smooth. I really thought he might have some texturing to his skin like Broadway had. His loincloth is sculpted very nicely. The belt buckle and the belt look really good. You get some more of that base color showing through right there, and like I said, that looks really good. But if you look at the legs and the arms compared to the hands, they are a different color. I'm just now noticing that. So yeah, these hands are a slightly different color than the rest of the figure. As I said, they also have that texturing that the rest of the figure lacks as well. And then there are the feet of the figure. The toenails are painted on in a nice brown color, but there's no sculpt to them like the previous Gargoyles figures. The rest of the Gargoyles figures have some textured lines to their claws and their toenails. But yeah, Brooklyn does not have that. So that does suck that he lacks that texturing there. That would have looked really cool. So now let's go ahead and go over his articulation. He has a ball-jointed head and neck they can only look back that far. The hair does hinder that a lot. The ball joint is down here in the neck, but I can't get it to move at all. So he can look down all the way, and I definitely don't want to force that because I already broke one thing on this figure, so let's not try to do that again. He can move his head side to side. Of course, he can move it side to side more without those wings on. His jaw can open all the way. That articulated jaw is very nice. He has shoulders that can move out that far. He has a swiveled bicep, double jointed elbows that can bend in all the way, swivel thrust that can move side to side and up and down, and on the accessory holding hand, it is a hinge joint. He has a ball jointed diaphragm and waist that can't really move back that far. It can move forward very slightly, but the joint feels like it's gotten really loose. You can see from me moving it up and down there that that joint has gotten really loose, and I really haven't posted it around that much. So yeah, that does suck. He can move side to side up here, as well as side to side very slightly down here in that waist joint. The tail on this figure does keep coming loose, and it's irritating to me. It can move up and down and has bendy wire in it, so you can bend it whatever way you want. But yeah, on mine it just keeps falling out, and then he just has a giant hole there in his butt, so that does suck. He has hips that can do a complete split. He can kick forward a little bit. As you can hear, that joint is very stiff. Oh man, that sounds terrible. He can kick back very slightly. He has a swiveled thigh, single jointed knee that can bend in that far, swiveled the ankle that can move down all the way, up very slightly, nice ankle rocker, and toes that can move up all the way. So now, let's do some size comparisons. So first up, here he is next to Goliath. Here he is next to Broadway. And finally, here he is next to Bronx. So overall, I was very excited to get this figure, but now that I have it in hand, mine has so many QC issues on it. The tail won't stay in, the one wing snapped off, the other wing doesn't want to move, so that's why I went ahead and removed it for the rest of the video. He can't hold his lance weapon properly in his hand, and that torso joint has gotten extremely loose. So this is definitely the weakest link of the Gargoyles figures so far. I was very excited to get it, but now that I have it in hand, I am pretty bummed. So that's my review. If you like this review, be sure to hit the like button and subscribe to my channel. Thanks for watching.